For more on the state of the UK economy, I'm joined by Robin Harding. He's the Financial Times U.S. economics editor based here in Washington. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
It's always good to talk about the UK economy with a sort of a UK publisher. So this is going to be fun. The United Kingdom, I know a lot of people want the economy there to do a little bit better, but it's not doing bad. It's bounced back greatly from where it was before. And in your opinion, where is the economy now? Is recovering or recovered? What's the right way to describe it?
It's clearly recovering, and the recovery has got a lot stronger in the last year. In fact, it's really surprised people by how much stronger it's got. So the IMF is forecasting that this year the UK economy will grow by 2.9%, and today they cut their forecast for US growth to just 2%. So I think that shows you that the UK economy has really got a head of steam now compared with other countries in the West.
Why? What changed? Is it domestic recovery? Is it the rest of Europe? Is it something else globally?
So it's still a little bit mysterious, really. It's clearly not exports, it's domestically driven. But the strange thing about the UK recovery is that jobs have done much better than output. And that's meant that productivity, which is output per worker, has gone down and down and down. So we've seen this overall growth. What we haven't seen is growing incomes for people in the UK. So the economy is doing better, but it doesn't really feel like it for people in Britain.
What happened to all those layoffs in the banking industry and the mortgage industry, hundreds of thousands of layoffs in the last 5 years, did those jobs come back?
So they didn't come back in the same places. And this is part of the story with the UK economy is we had this financial sector which was roaring along, really high income jobs. Those jobs haven't come back. The jobs that have come back are lower paid service sector jobs. So that's why we've seen employment doing well, but people not really feeling happier about their lives and their incomes.
You heard earlier we're reporting Premier Lee is in the UK. The UK has a fairly strong relationship with China. They always have. They want to export more goods to China. I imagine the opposite is also true. China wants to export more goods to the UK. This unilateral relationship that they have, how much can it grow by and how big of an impact is that overall to the UK economy?
Well, China's doing a very good job of exporting things to the UK and has been doing so for some time. I think the question is how much can go back the other way? And clearly, the growth of China means that it's the driving force of the global economy. And because it's the driving force of the global economy, a little economy like the UK has to hope that it can send some of its exports to the growing Chinese market, and that will become a bigger and bigger part of UK output. So clearly, it's huge potential for the UK. The question is whether it can be really translated into a big flow of goods. The UK is very heavily focused in its export relationships on the European Union, and a big focus of the UK government is to try and diversify that and take advantage of the growth in China and India and Brazil.
When we think of exports, a lot of times we think of airplanes. Obviously, in the UK, it's cars. There's a lot of cars. That's a big market. And of course, I think of the Rolls-Royce, and there are other UK cars as well. But how big is that market realistically in reality to China?
So cars. Well, clearly there's some high-end brands made in the UK which are very desirable around the world, like your Jaguars, your Aston Martins, your Minis. I mean, there's a lot of engineering skills in the UK. It's no coincidence that most of the Formula One racing teams are based in the UK. So I think there's potential there, but manufacturing is not a huge part of the UK economy. There's also a lot of potential to export the things which really are big UK industries in the financial services sector and other service sectors of the economy.
So let's talk about the rest of Europe here. Southern Europe isn't doing all that great. Northern Europe's doing okay, and of course you think the UK is recovering. Is there a way to tie all of that together? I mean, are they related, and if so, how?
So the UK is kind of semi-detached from the rest of Europe because it's not in the Eurozone. And that's the thing that's really determined what's happened to European countries. I mean, all the Eurozone countries, bar Germany and a couple of others, are not doing well.
The ones that share the euro, so to speak.
Exactly. So that's why the UK has been able to be a little bit detached and do a bit better. But the UK is still really tied to the rest of Europe. That's where almost all our exports go. So it's very hard for the UK to greatly outperform the rest of the Eurozone. So I think when you're looking at this, you have to say what's going to bring about a recovery in the Eurozone, and that in turn will help the UK economy to really get back to full speed.
There has been a growing complaint in the UK from a lot of people who are looking to buy homes, these younger couples, younger individuals, young professionals who look at these houses and say, I can't afford, you know, £1 million two-bedroom condo in London. And granted, that's in an expensive area. But the truth is there a bubble in real estate?
So I'm one of these people who can't afford a house in London, so I care about this a lot.
I know you make $1 million a year, but you're telling me you
Yes,
still can't.
In journalism, you know, we all make $1 million a year. You'll know that. So is there a bubble in the UK housing market? I think there is a strong possibility that London may be getting into a bubble. But the real problem in the UK is that the fundamentals of the market are a total disaster. The planning restrictions are so severe, but it's impossible to build houses. And at the same time, you know, London has really taken off, and the government's encouraging people to buy houses. So you have massive demand, no supply. Of course, prices are going to go up.
And the economy is just so, but yet the housing market is doing great. I'm sorry, Robin, we're out of time. We're going to have you back for another half hour just to talk about housing, okay? Robin Harding, Financial Times U.S. economics editor here in Washington, D.C. It's good to see you, by the way.
Good to see you too. Thank you.